guys, happy Friday. I hope you guys have a great week this week because I had a really awesome one. So in today's try and test it, I thought I'd do something a bit different. Instead of talking about the features and functions in CE or Powerapps, I'll just do a short how-to to show you guys how to create collapsible sections. So if you have read some of the blog posts that I've written in the past, I'm quite big on creating good UIs for customer or users best experience, because if you all of you have used apps, right? So if you download an app, for me at least, whether or not I continue using it, it's not just what the app does, but also the user friendliness and how the app behave. Like if the app is clunky and I find it hard to navigate around, I would normally just say screw it, download something else, because you could have like 10, 20, even 50 apps that is doing the same thing, but what makes the difference is the user experience. So what I'm gonna show today is to create a collapsible sections, and this will be very useful when you create forms or data entry forms or anything on a mobile app, on a mobile, because you know how mobile have limited space. It's actually long and narrow, so you don't want to end up with too many fields or too many components on the form, else it'll be very clunky. So I'll just show how the end product will look like. Let me just open another screen here. I just have a few different Powerapps user login for me to play around and test stuff. So this is how the end result will look like. Let me just play. So this is what I mean by collapsible sections. So you can expand and collapse everything. So you could have multiple sections and your screen will not look really clunky. There's a few ways to do it. Like this is a Canvas apps, right? So you can do it with several methods. This is just how I do it, and I hope that at the end of this, it will give you some ideas on how to create different types of UIs, or how you can use all these components and recreate what you see on that is currently happening, like in the apps on your phone, like sliders or maybe show and hide and things like that. Okay, so now let's get back to my app here. Okay, I think first of all here I'm gonna just create a new app. I'll put it to a blank app, a phone layout, because we are doing it on a phone. Well, of course you can create it for tablets and stuff, but for this particular one I find it very useful for a phone. So first here I'm just gonna connect to the data source. So now you can have the search function here, which is really cool. So you don't need to scroll to search for the entity or the tables that you want. Just give it a while. Yep. So if I want accounts, I could have accounts, or I could just search and it comes up accounts. Connect to it. Yep. That's just telling me that I need a specific license to use this connector. Something new as well, like I didn't see it last week. It's very good. It's a reminder. Okay, so now I'm just gonna insert the form. So I'm gonna create two sections just to show you how it can be collapsed. First of all, I'll insert an edit form. Okay, and then I need to connect these to accounts. Then it will help me populate some fields in there. I'm gonna remove some of the fields because I don't need them. So there's two ways to do it. One, you can click on edit field over here and just remove what you do not want. Another one is just deleting the data card. So I'll just delete it here since I'm here. So I'll just remove, I don't need addresses. I just want to show a simple small one. And then I can move it up and down as well. So I will move this up, the account name. Okay, I could also add fields. Maybe I want to add the website field. So again, you can now search, which is really cool. Yep, you can also change the control type and etc. Oops. Right. Okay. So now I have my first form. I'm gonna put in the label, the header label for my form, which is the section name. So I'll just create a label here. Sorry for my voice. I didn't have a good night's sleep because it was really hot. So I think I'm having a bit of a sore throat here coming. Okay, so here I'll just put this. Maybe I need to call this account information. Oops, my FE is expired. Okay. Just gonna make this a little bit more pretty probably. Just align this to the center. And I can actually change my font size as well. Couldn't find my font. Oh, here it is. So there aren't many fonts available now, but you could get all the basics ones like Arial, Courier, etc. Just gonna make this bigger. 30, oops, that's too big. Okay, and then you can put the weight as well. You can have bold, or I like semi-bold, just in between, you know, not too fat, not too small, just nice. And now I'm going to change my label color as well. I want it to be perhaps maybe green. Yep, green looks nice. Okay, alright, so I'm just going to move this up a bit. Okay, now this is my first section. I'm also going to put in an icon for my first section. Let's start with just a plus sign probably. Paste. Again, you can change the colors, you can change the size, but yeah, I'm going to leave it as it is. Okay, so now I'm going to insert another form. Oh, before that, I'll change this to new because if it's edit form, because this is entering new information, so I have to change it to new, or else you don't see anything. It'll be blank. So I'll just show you an example. So if I play this, it's blank because I'm not editing from a gallery or anything. But if you're navigating to this form from somewhere else that's passing the information and be populated, and you want to edit, then leave it as an edit form. So now this is new form. Sorry. Excuse me. Yeah, this is my voice. So now the next one, I'm just gonna put in another form. Let's go with another edit form. Similarly, I'm gonna go and create accounts. There's some fields in there, so now I'm just gonna delete it from here. I don't want employees, I don't need accounts name, I don't need revenue, I don't need street to. Okay, now I have city, postal code. Maybe I'll just add some more, like probably I have city, postal code, the country. Okay, cool. Now just gonna make it a little bit smaller. Yeah, you can actually play around with the size and all. So here I just want to make it look neater, so I just gonna make it a bit smaller. Yeah, no, the size is not even, but you can manipulate the size, which is actually here, the width and height. Okay, so now I want a label, so I just gonna copy and paste here so that it's of the same size. It's okay, just put anywhere for now, because we're gonna put in the formula to make it look aligned. Okay, now I'm gonna rename this and probably put this address detail. Similarly, I'll just copy the icon, and here I have the icon. So this is the one that we'll click on to expand and collapse. So now I'm just gonna make my form name, change the form name so that I know what when I put in the formula, I know what I'm doing. So this form 1, form 2, I'm fine with that. Probably just gonna change the label name. Yep, a bit easier. Rename. I call this label account, and then just gonna rename the icon as well. Icon account. Similarly for the second one, oops, sorry, my bad. This is actually the address. Oh no, it's the account. So similarly for the second form, which is at the top, yep, here is. So this would be, I call this address, but this is just to make it easier for me to know what I'm doing when I'm writing my formula, because if I leave it as icon 1, icon 1.1, I get confused. Yes, I'm easily confused by naming convention. If you don't put the right name, I don't know what I'm referring to. Okay, so this is icon address and label address. You can have a button to submit format, etc., but I'm not going to do that here. So now how do I do this is I manipulate the Y and the height size. Okay, so you see every one of these, it has a Y component. So this is actually your coordinate. For Y, as you go lower in the form, is increasing in size, increasing in numbers. So what we're gonna do is, you can see here that it starts from 0, right? And then if you look at the Y for your address details, is 462. So when I click on this, I want this form, accounts form, to collapse and my address to move up. So how I do that is, on select, I'm gonna set probably a parameter or um, a placeholder, right, to store, to let the app know that I've clicked on this and I want it to collapse or expand, either way. So what I'm going to do firstly is I'm just going to do a if here. So if form1 open equals to true, then I set form1 open as false, but if it's false, I leave it as true. So what I'm doing here is that I'm telling the system that if this is open, when I click on it, it should collapse, so become false. When this is closed, if I click on it, it opens up. Okay, so now that I already have this, I have the parameter set, the variable set, what we call that. How I collapse this is actually I just made it invisible. I just hide it, right? So I come here to the form, edit form, and then there is something called visible. So here I'm going to put in the formula to tell it that if form1 open is true, show the form, show this edit form. If it's false, then collapse it. So just going to put in if form1 open equals to true, visible will be true. Visible is true, or else is false. Okay. So just to know what is the current variable status, I'm just going to put a label here. This is my testing. You can just create a debug screen as well, but let me just do this. Form1 open. So this is false. So I can also set by default to have it open. So I go to on visible, which is on the load of this form. I set form1 open to be true. So upon form load, this will always be true. Oops. So now if I save this, let's test it out. I'm just going to call this collapsible sections. Let's save and publish it and see does it work. Give it a minute, yeah. Alright, this is done. I'll try and run this. Okay, so now it's false. So let me run this from here. On visibles, you have to run it from the apps, so that if you run it directly from there, it sometimes may not work. So play, yep. So when I click this disappears. Okay. So but when I click again, it doesn't become true. We have to let me look at the formula again. So oops, silly me. So I forget to set it back to true. So now I've set it to false, but I did not set it back to true. So form1 open dot true. Right. Now let's do this again. Let's close this. Save. Remember to publish before you play them from here, or else you might not see your changes. So now I play, hit play, collapse, open. Cool. So now we got one part done. So now once it's collapsed, I want my address details and the form below here to actually move up. Now you see I forgot to set this to new. is still in edit mode. That's why it says getting your data, but you don't see anything because there's no data, right? So let's go back and do two things. First, set this to new again, and then write the formula to actually move the address details and the form up here. So this account information is always static. We will use this Y as the reference point. So now if I come back to here, my edit form, so I'm just gonna change this back to default mode to new. Yep. Save it. I always have a habit of saving my apps every time I make changes, because sometimes the system might log out or something might happen. The laptop might run out of battery because I forgot to charge it, and all my changes will be gone. This is true story. So now I'm gonna bring my address details up. So how I do that is by manipulating the Y. So the Y now currently is sitting at 462. I want to move it to below account information. So that means I'm gonna move it up to the labels, account information, headers, Y coordinate, and I'm gonna add the height because this is the height. So you move up to Y because account information was 0, right? Have we seen? So it's 0. If we move it to 0, it will be right here at the same spot where this label is, but I want it to be below, so I add the height and it'll be at the bottom. So let's try this out. Okay, so here I'll just put in lbl underscore address dot y. So let's first just lbl details, sorry, the name of that is details account, oops, dot y. So now when I put dot y, you can see that it went all the way up here, which is not what we want. We want it to be below that label. So add here, you add the label height. So be lbl account is the label name dot height. Yeah, so it will come up here. So every time so now this should only happen when the first form is collapsed. Okay, so I need to put in a formula to say if the first form is collapsed, open is false, do this, or else. So if it's not collapsed, it should be below the edit form, right? It should be below the accounts edit form. So I'm gonna take the form, same thing, account edits form Y, and then I'm gonna take the height, and then I'm gonna take the account address details labels height as well. Let's try that. So the height would be form 1 dot height. Now let's see where this brings us. Okay, and then I'm gonna add with the lbl underscore address. I hope I'm right. Okay, well, let's try this again. Okay, let's see, is it right? I click on the form. Yep. So why I did that was because if I want to bring it down, I want it to be below this form edit. So these have a height. So if I just put form 1 dot height, it will end up above here because the height ends below the website, right? But this will actually sit on top of the website view. So to bring it down at the right spot, further, I'm gonna use this address height, so it looks like it's seamless, sitting nicely at the end of the first form. So I'm gonna do the same thing to the icon, because the icon gonna move up as well. So what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna take this formula and copy it to the icon, but this might need a bit of manipulation because it's sitting a bit low. Let's just see how it looks like, and then we can manipulate from there. So 472. Okay, so it's a bit high. I want it a bit lower. So what I'm gonna do, because as you go down, the coordinate y goes increase. So you know how we learn maths in school, the x and y? Yeah, it's the same thing. So now it's a plus 10. Does it look better? Yep, I prefer it that way. So on the icon, I'm just gonna add 10, and then same with when it's false, I'm gonna add 10 as well. Okay, so let's try this. Oops, here. So now you've done the first part now. So let's look at the second part. So for the second part, if I click on this select, I want this box to actually disappear. So what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna copy this. Okay, I'm gonna copy this this formula over here. Oops. And reuse it, but reference it to form 2. So this is my lazy way of doing things, so I don't like to rewrite formulas. So now just remember to change the reference, because or else it'll be, you know, closing the first form. So now I'm going to set this variable as form 2, because I want to refer here. And then when this happens, this will become invisible. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna copy the visible function as well and rename it as form 2. So I'm copying this, I put it over here, go down to visible property, and change this to form 2. So always remember to refer back to the correct parameters. Okay, so now let's try. Yep. So basically you're more or less done, because you know I could remove this and I could do this, but you see now when I make this collapse, this doesn't move up. So now we have to change the y for this. So for this form, for the address edit form, form 2, the reference point is always the address details. So when this is collapsed, this move up, this have to come up as well. So I want this to go below the address details. So same thing, I'm gonna use address details label as a reference point. So I'm gonna move it up to the y of the address detail, and I'm gonna add the height so that it goes nicely below the line here. So I go to the y, and I'll set LBL address dot y plus BL address dot height. Okay, so now if I collapse, see, because it always takes address details as a reference point. Yep, so there you go, a collapsible section. So yeah, as you can see, it's really easy. The way I do it is just manipulating the y. You can do if you have any other ways to do it, like more, probably you want to use height, minimize and maximize the height instead of making it disappear. You can do that as well. So you can just make the height of the edit form, this height to 0. Oops, this one, make it to 0. So once you make it 0, it will collapse. That's another way of doing it. Yeah, so you can be creative and play around with it and change the look and feel as you want. Another thing, probably I show you what else that you can do, like an example of how to be creative about it is probably I want to use the icon to show that whether it's collapse or expand. You know how you have like the up down icon? Let's try that. Okay, so I'm going to put, so when it's collapse, I want the arrow to show downwards. No, I want it to show upwards, so that I click on it, it expands, the arrow goes downwards. So let's try and do that. Okay, I just put it here. This is an example, yeah. So first of all, I need to put the select formula in there. Okay. Okay. So now for this one, what's gonna happen is if icon 3, I'm just gonna put icon 3 above icon 2. I'll do that later. Okay. So here, alright. So if the form is open, I want to show the up arrow. So on visible, I'll set that if form 1 open is true, then yeah, this will be shown, or else you don't see it. Okay, now then the bottom, this down arrow is doing the opposite. So I'm just going to go to the visible. Again, I'm doing the lazy way. I'm just going to copy, but you have to make sure that you change the formula as you copy, especially the reference and the conditions. So if form 1 is close, you show, or else you don't. Yep, so now form 1 is open. So when I click on it, oops, it's not showing what's happening. So if form 1 is closed, it should show. If form 1 collapse, it shows, or else it do not show. Okay, let's do this again. So if now it should show, so it means if form 1 is should show, or else do not show. Okay. Form 1 open, strong parameter. Yeah. So let's try again. When I click on this, it's open. This shows. Yes. So as you can see, you can easily manipulate this, change the layout, put in the formulas, show and hide, change your height, and X and Y, and you can do a lot of things to the UI. So yep, now I put it together so it looks like it's just doing the same thing. Cool. So that's all for today. I'm also gonna put up the solution file for this in those dynamic groups, Power Bank or Power Platform Bank. So you can download it from there and you can reuse it. I've connected this to CDS. You can connect it to other data source, but the formulas to collapse and expand this is the same. So thanks for watching today. Sorry about my voice. I'm really having a bit of a sore throat, I think, and a dry throat and not enough sleep. So but I just want to record this so that, it's a long delayed one that I wanted to give it to you guys for like months, but I didn't have time to actually do it, so I thought I might as well just do a tutorial and import it and share the solution file with all of you. So any feedback to make for me to make the video better, please leave your comments. Also, if you want to know some other stuff about Powerapps, if I could help, if you want me to show some hacks, give me some ideas of, let me know what you want to watch, what kind of how to or what features that you want me to test. Just leave it in the comments below, and if I can do it, I will try. If not, I can talk to friends and people around to see if they know how to, and we can share them with you as well. So that's all for today. Have a nice weekend and take care. Till next time. Bye.